They say talent sets you apart. But hard work? Hard work makes you unstoppable. John Cena is living proof of that. John Cena is living proof of that. When Cena first entered WWE, many of the veterans laughed at him. They saw a young guy with muscles, determination, and maybe a little charisma. But they didn't see a future legend. In locker rooms, whispers floated around. This kid won't last. But what they didn't know was the depth of his work ethic. Cena wasn't just another athlete. He was a machine. Every morning, long before the sun came up, Cena was in the gym. 4 a.m. workouts weren't a punishment for him. They were a lifestyle. Day after day, week after week, year after year, he trained his body and his mind like a soldier preparing for battle. And here's the truth. It wasn't just about lifting weights or building muscle. It was about discipline. When everyone else was still sleeping, Cena was grinding. When other wrestlers were out partying after shows, Cena was stretching, training, or studying tapes of his matches. That commitment paid off. By the time Cena became a main event superstar, he wasn't just strong. He was indestructible. He could go toe-to-toe with giants like Big Show, fight through brutal matches with Batista, and still show up the next day ready to perform again. Because he had trained himself not just to look the part, but to live it. There's a story from WrestleMania week that sums this up perfectly. While most superstars were resting before the biggest night of the year, Cena was spotted in the gym, pushing himself harder than ever. When asked why, he said, "Because when millions are watching, I want them to see the best version of me. No excuses." That's what separates John Cena from so many others. Talent can make you good, but hard work, relentless, consistent, day in and day out hard work, that makes you great. And maybe this is the biggest takeaway for all of us. Because let's face it, not everyone is born with incredible talent. Not everyone is born with money, connections, or advantages. But hard work is available to everyone. The lesson is simple. If you're willing to outwork everyone else, you don't just close the gap. You create a new standard. John Cena didn't become the face of WWE because he was the most talented. He became the face of WWE because no one, and I mean no one, could outwork him. So the next time you feel like you're not talented enough, smart enough, or gifted enough, remember Cena's story. Because talent might get you noticed, but hard work is what will make sure you're never forgotten. In a world where fame makes people arrogant, and success makes people forget where they came from, John Cena chose a different path. For him, two values mattered more than championships, more than Hollywood, more than money: respect and loyalty. Let's start with loyalty. Cena spent over 20 years in WWE. Think about that. In an era where superstars jump ship for bigger contracts, more fame, or easier schedules, Cena stayed. He stayed when Hollywood offered him movies. He stayed when fans booed him for years. He stayed even when his body was broken, battered, and begging for rest. Why? Because for Cena, WWE wasn't just a job. It was family. And family isn't something you walk away from when things get tough. There was a time, around 2005 to 2006, when fans started to turn on him. Every arena echoed with chants of "Cena sucks." Any other superstar would have broken under that pressure. Some might have turned bitter. Others might have quit. But Cena? He kept showing up. Night after night, he walked into arenas knowing half the crowd hated him. And yet, he gave every ounce of his energy to them anyway. That's loyalty. Not loyalty when it's easy, but loyalty when it's hard. Now let's talk about respect. In wrestling, rivalries can get personal. Words are exchanged, tempers flare. But Cena always made sure that when the cameras went off, he gave respect where it was due. When he feuded with JBL, one of his toughest rivals, he still said publicly, "I respect what JBL did for this business." When he went toe-to-toe with The Rock, a feud filled with harsh words, Cena still admitted later that he respected The Rock's success and what he brought to WWE. And it wasn't just about other superstars. Cena respected the fans too, even the ones who booed him. He never lashed out, never insulted them back. He understood something powerful. Respect isn't about how people treat you. It's about how you choose to treat them. This is what made John Cena different. Because in the end, belts get lost, matches get forgotten, and fame fades away. But respect? Respect lasts forever. And loyalty? Loyalty builds trust that no defeat can break. Here's the lesson. True greatness isn't about how high you climb, but about how you carry yourself while climbing. Cena taught us that success without respect is hollow. And loyalty to your craft, to your people, to your values, is the foundation of a legacy. Think about it. Why do millions still chant his name? Even after he wrestles just once or twice a year now. It's not just because he was a champion. It's because fans know, deep down, that Cena never betrayed the ring, never betrayed the business, and never betrayed them. And maybe that's the secret. In a world full of shortcuts and betrayals, be the one who chooses respect. Be the one who chooses loyalty. Because when the lights go out and the spotlight fades, that's what people will remember most about you. At the end of the day, championships fade. Titles get passed on. Records get broken. But what truly lasts is the impact you make on people's lives. And John Cena understood this better than anyone. Throughout his career, Cena didn't just use his fame to elevate himself. He used it to lift others. And the most powerful example of that is his work with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. For those who don't know, Make-A-Wish is an organization that grants the wishes of children battling life-threatening illnesses. Some kids dream of going to Disneyland. Some dream of meeting their favorite celebrity. And for thousands of children around the world, their dream was to meet John Cena. Now here's the number that will blow your mind. John Cena has granted over 650 wishes through the foundation. More than any celebrity in history. Not The Rock. Not any actor. Not any athlete. John Cena is number one. Think about that for a second. 650 times, he walked into a hospital room. 650 times, he smiled at a child who was fighting for their life. 650 times, he gave hope when hope was running out. There's a story of one child who told Cena, "You gave me the strength to keep fighting." And Cena's reply? He said, "If I can make even one kid smile, that's worth more than any championship I'll ever win." That's not a superstar talking. That's not a character. That's a human being who understands the true meaning of being a champion. Because at the end of the day, a belt is just leather and gold. But changing someone's life? That's legacy. And Cena didn't just stop there. He used his platform to support charities, to visit troops overseas, to speak about respect and kindness in a world that often forgets those words. When millions were watching, he didn't just say, "Look at me." He said, "Let's do something good together." And that's the heart of this lesson. Use your platform for good. You may not be a WWE champion. You may not have millions of followers. But every single one of us has a platform. In our families, our schools, our workplaces, our communities. And how we use that platform defines the kind of legacy we leave behind. John Cena proved that greatness isn't measured by how many people cheer for you, but by how many lives you touch. That's why even today, years after his prime, kids still wear his t-shirts, chant his name, and smile when they hear the words, "Never give up." Because to them, John Cena isn't just a wrestler. He's hope. He's proof that kindness is power. He's living evidence that the strongest thing you can do with your life is make someone else's life better. Asterisk, from a rookie who was almost fired to one of the greatest champions in history, John Cena's story is more than wrestling. It's a blueprint for life. He taught us 5 lessons that can change anyone's future. Never give up, because failure isn't final until you stop trying. Adapt and reinvent yourself, because the world changes and you must change with it. Hard work beats talent, because discipline will outlast any natural gift. Respect and loyalty matter, because success without character is empty. Use your platform for good, because the greatest legacy isn't titles, it's the lives you touch. John Cena is not just a wrestler. He's a reminder that no matter where you start, no matter how many times you fall, no matter how many people doubt you, you can rise, you can fight, and you can inspire. So now, I'll leave you with this question. Which of these 5 lessons do you need most in your life today? Tell me in the comments below. Because your words might be the exact message someone else needs to hear right now. And if Cena's journey inspired you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who needs a spark of hope today. Because in the end, the belts, the lights, the fame, they fade. But what never fades is a life lived with hustle, loyalty, and respect. Imagine this, a young rookie standing at the edge of failure. The crowd is silent. The company is ready to let him go. Everyone whispers, "He'll never make it." But that same rookie rose to become one of the greatest champions the world has ever seen. This is the story of John Cena. And today, we're uncovering the 5 life lessons from his journey. Lessons that could change your life forever. Emotional CTA, right after intro. But before we dive in, I want you to make a promise. If you've ever been inspired by John Cena, if you believe in the power of never give up, then hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment saying, "Never give up." Because your one comment might be the reason someone else finds the strength to keep fighting. It was June 2002. A fresh-faced rookie named John Cena walked down the ramp to face Kurt Angle. The energy was electric. The crowd was curious. And for that one night, he looked like a star in the making. But then silence. Week after week, Cena appeared on WWE television. And week after week, the cheers grew weaker. The fans didn't boo him. They just didn't care. And in the world of wrestling, silence is the loudest sound of all. Backstage, the whispers began. Management said, "Maybe we made a mistake. Maybe this kid isn't ready. Maybe it's time to let him go." Cena would go back to the locker room, exhausted, and hear the doubt in every corner. Other wrestlers walked past him without saying a word. Some shook their heads, as if his story was already over. Think about that for a moment. You've sacrificed everything. You've worked for years, and now, you're just weeks away from losing it all. Most people would quit right there. But Cena didn't. One night on a WWE tour bus, he was rapping with friends, just joking around. A producer overheard him. That tiny spark lit an idea. So the next week, When Cena walked onto SmackDown, he took a risk. He grabbed the microphone, looked at the crowd, and began to freestyle rap. No script, no permission, just pure energy. And suddenly, the crowd woke up. They laughed, they booed, they cheered, but most importantly, they reacted. For the first time, John Cena connected. In that moment, the Doctor of Thugonomics was born. That single decision saved his career. But more than that, it gave the world a philosophy. Never give up. You see, never give up isn't just a slogan on a t-shirt. It's a mindset. It's what kept Cena alive in WWE when he was seconds away from being fired. It's what turned silence into thunderous chants. And it's what transformed him from a rookie nobody believed in into a name the whole world knows. Now, let me ask you this. How many times in your life have you been one step away from quitting? How many times did the world tell you, you can't do it? Remember Cena's story, because sometimes greatness is just one brave decision away. If he had walked out of WWE in 2002, history would have forgotten his name. But because he stayed, because he refused to give up, the world remembers John Cena as one of the greatest of all time. In life, one truth is certain. Nothing stays the same forever. The world changes. People change. The crowd changes. And if you don't evolve with it, you fade away. John Cena learned this the hard way. When he first burst onto the scene as the Doctor of Thugonomics, he was electric. When he first burst onto the scene as the Doctor of Thugonomics, he was electric. He came out in throwback jerseys, gold chains, and a baseball cap tilted to the side. He didn't just wrestle, he rhymed. He turned insults into poetry, and fans couldn't get enough. For a while, Cena was the hottest act in WWE. He was different, edgy, and real. But after a couple of years, the magic started to fade. What once felt exciting now started to feel repetitive. The audience began to turn. Some still cheered, but many more booed. Signs popped up in arenas. Cena sucks. Crowds chanted against him week after week. Now, most wrestlers would panic. They'd double down on the same act, or worse, they'd vanish into irrelevance. But Cena? He chose a different road. He looked at himself in the mirror and said, if this version of me isn't connecting anymore, it's time to evolve. And evolve he did. The rapper slowly disappeared. In his place stood a new man. A man built on 3 words: hustle, loyalty, respect. He swapped the jerseys for jean shorts and colorful t-shirts. He became the hard-working, all-American role model who stood up for what was right. Yes, many fans still booed him, but millions more saw something new, a hero. For kids, he became a symbol of hope. For families, a safe superstar they could cheer. And whether you loved him or hated him, you couldn't ignore him. That reinvention kept Cena on top for over a decade. In a business where most careers burn out in just a few years. Out in just a few years. And when Hollywood came calling, he reinvented himself again. At first, people laughed. John Cena can't act, they said. But he proved them wrong. He started with comedy, stealing scenes in Trainwreck with his timing and charm. Then came action. Bumblebee, The Suicide Squad, Fast and Furious. And today, he's not just a wrestler or an actor. He's both. Every time the world tried to box him in, Cena broke free. Every time people thought they'd seen the last of him, he came back as something new. That's the lesson. Adapt. Reinvent. Survive. Because in life, the version of you that succeeds today may not be the version that wins tomorrow. And if you're too afraid to change, you risk being left behind. John Cena didn't stay relevant for 20 years by being the same man he was in 2002. He stayed relevant because he had the courage to transform. And maybe that's the secret for you too. When one version of yourself stops working, don't cling to it. Have the courage to grow into someone new. Because as John Cena proved, reinvention isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your next chapter. Asterisk.